Good evening and welcome to round 2 of the Multiclass Championship on Le Mans Ultimate. We're at Bahrain this evening and qualifying is currently underway for the GT3s. It'll be 10 minutes for the GT3 class, and then the last 10 minutes, shall we say, will be for the hypercars. So we do have, in fact, both classes running this evening. Obviously the multi-class title gives it away, but we will be running hypercars and GT3s this evening. So this is just a single race this evening, so a 60-minute race. Just the one this evening. We've got around 20 drivers in both classes today. In fact, we've got more than that. We've got 16 in the GT3. And I think around 10, 11 hypercars. So pretty good numbers this evening. Sure to get very, very busy. Sorry, distracted by the chat, but yes, sure to get very, very busy on track with the difference or the speed delta between these two classes. So Josh Copeland in the chat commenting for engagement reasons. Love it, yeah, get engaged, Josh. He's just sat in the pits at the moment, so you'll see all of the hypercars currently sat in the pits waiting for the GT3s to complete their qualifying session. So with 15 minutes and 35 seconds to go, that means we've got 5.5 minutes for the GT3s to put in their best efforts. Currently, we have Braga on pole. The Lunatic, I mean, what a name. There's a few of them in here. Oh yeah, and apologies, there is no Tom Simpkins this evening. Tom is, I think, is away on a stag do or something, so it will just be myself for the whole hour, so you may fall asleep watching this back. So apologies for that. Yeah, so the Lunatic, I don't know, I'm assuming that's his genuine name. It's the first time I've seen his name pop up, so we'll go with Lunatic. Braga, I mean, what a name. I'm assuming everything is okay because we've got people commenting in the chat, so I'm assuming you can hear me. Yeah, unfortunately Tom away. Yeah, can't get the staff. It was really good to have Tom last week. Just another set of eyes on the action, and especially on an endurance race like this where it's 60 minutes, there's a lot you can miss further down the field. Josh saying he's going to give us plenty of material to talk about. We'll be sure to focus in on Josh. He'll be running in the hypercar class this evening. Yeah. Obviously the leaderboard at the moment shows kind of 35 or 37 entries, but most of those won't be here this evening, or at least half of those, because it does show the full entry list, unfortunately. 3.5 minutes to go then. Who have we got? We've got Tom Lyons on pole position in the Corvette as it stands. He's just chasing, I think that's... Who's that? Is that Craig Fulton? No, it's not Craig Fulton, so I'm not sure who else is in. So that is MC... I'm struggling with these names. You can see it on screen. Dogi. MC Dogi. It sounds like an MC's name, really. Few people in the chat ready to finish dead last. That's always fantastic optimism there. Andrew Welborn, yeah, not got a lot of practice in. Just incidentally, Josh Copeland will be in the Aston Martin, so we will have that glorious music to listen to. So even if it gets boring, we'll probably default to watching Josh circulate. Josh is offered to jump into the comms box if he crashes out early. So I guess we'll see Josh in maybe 20-25 minutes or so. He'll be joining us in the commentary booth. We may have to do some ad hoc kind of setting up of that, but I'm sure we can get it sorted. 2 minutes to go. All of my screens just went black, so hopefully the stream is still going. Tom Lyons still on pole, followed by the Lunatic in 48. It's got 95 on the car, but it is actually the number 48, you can see down in the right hand side. Then Alex McGee in third position in the Porsche. Currently about a second off the pace, so only 4 tenths between first and second. And then Alex McGee in third, a further 6 tenths behind. Then we've got Greg Minium. I wondered if he's got kids. The Miniums. He's in fourth, only 0.1 behind. Actually, a correction. Alex McGee's a second behind second place. So this is the actual delta. So you can see on your screen on the left-hand side, we've got Greg, who's just moved up there into third position, 6 tenths off the lead, and then McGee now a second and a half behind pole. Troy Fry just completing a lap there, still in, so he's gone up to fourth, so he bumps Alex McGee down to fifth position, 1.3 off pole position at the moment, so quite a spread in the top four, a little bit closer from fourth position down to eighth, as you see, only 3 tenths between those four. But the drivers quickly running out of time here, so as the 10-minute mark approaches, they may have to deal with the times they already set. So Tom Lyons is in the pit along with Greg, so no better times for them. Lunatic still going round. Apologies if that is your name, but it just doesn't really sound, yeah, to English-speaking people, it's rather funny. Anyway, distracted. Troy Fry still on a lap. Aaron Sterrett in the Mercedes with a nice livery there. What can he do across the line? Currently in sixth position. And he improves up to fifth position, so good lap. And you can see on the left hand side, so the hypercars all rolling out of the pits to start their session. So pretty much all of the GT3s hitting now. Just Sam Wooldridge, Miguel Cambria, it's just me mispronouncing names, isn't it, this evening? Who else? We've got DC Hongi and Robin Cruz. So they're just coming back in the pit. So that's pretty much the GT3 session over. Sam Wooldridge going up to 7th position. Alex McGee holding on to 6th. But let's get... So we've got how many hypercars? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... 12 hypercars plus 16, so 28 cars in total, so that's a really good turnout. And we will jump on with a couple of the favourites. So Matti Zenko, I forgot to just mention on the GT3s in the last round, so it was Tom Lyons took the win from Troy Fry and then Phil Nauder. So that was the GT3 class results at round 1, which was held at Monza. The hypercars, we had Matti Zenko, who you can see on the screen now. He took the victory. And then we had Kyle Wright in 2nd position and Andrew Wellborn 3rd on the podium. Andrew doing a lot better in the endurance races and the hypercars than he was managing in our Tuesday sprint series. Not having a great time in that championship. So you can just hear the howl of the Aston Martin in the background. So yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it? Let's have a little listen in. Yeah, so that's the Aston Martin V12 Valkyrie hypercar. Sounding lovely. Evening to Gabriel in the chat. I'm assuming Gabriel's not joining us this evening, but hopefully we'll see him on Tuesday, making a comeback for the Sprint Series. 6.5 minutes to go. We've currently got nobody doing a lap yet. No one's actually set a fast time so far. So, you know, we're nearly 3.5, 4 minutes in, and no lap time set at the moment by the hypercars as they come across the line. So the first hypercar to come across the track, across the line, sorry, is Matt Scorrow, taking pole position on a 1:46.8. So the other cars quite a bit further behind, you see on the leaderboard, and that's because they're just getting tyres up to temperature, up to pressure, to make that push lap really count. Any requests of any drivers to follow, just pop them in the chat and I'll do my best to follow them around. So Matt Scorrow still on pole position, and then Matty Zenko with a 46.827, so only marginally off the that first attempt by Matt Scorrow. So the two Matts currently at the front of the pack. Third place is Eric Chaube, or Chaube, in the Ferrari. So we'll just let these this next lap or two complete, and then we should have a clearer picture of where these standings are. So Gabriel in the chat says he'll see us on Tuesday, so he'll be racing on the Sprint Series, and he should be on the grid for this championship, the Multiclass Championship, next round, so that'll be next Sunday. Hopefully we will have a stream next Sunday as well, all really down to work commitments and availability of myself. Hopefully Tom will be able to join us next week, because it's really good having Tom on the comms, like a young Murray Walker we call him. So now Kyle Wright on pole position on a 46 flat, so significantly quicker than the other times. Again, if you just keep checking that leaderboard on the screen, you'll see the deltas away from that pole position. So Kyle Wright currently 0.682 ahead of Matt Scorrow in second position, but I have a funny feeling that the order won't stay this way. Just under 4 minutes to go. Got anybody on some quick laps? Let's see what Josh is up to in the Aston Martin. First sector, pretty I was going to say it was okay, but it's about half a second off the ultimate, and he's got it all wrong through there. So hopefully it won't be we won't see Josh in the comms box before the end of qualifying. So let's check in with somebody else. Andrew Welborn on fourth position in the Jota Cadillac. I think in this game we have Jota, Porsche and Cadillac. I think Team Jota swapping over to the Cadillac for 2025. I could be wrong, because you know, I don't follow the World Endurance Championship that closely. I know Alex McGee, who's in the pits currently in the GT3 car. I'm sure he'll be able to correct me on that. But from as far as I can see, there is Jota cars in the Cadillac and Porsche. Well, the Team Jota livery on the Porsche and the Cadillac. You will notice that sometimes the stream goes a bit choppy. We're not really sure why this is, but it does disappear and calm down. You can see it's just really quite choppy at the moment, but that will disappear and then everything's good again. So hopefully that will just disappear in a little while. So Matt Scorrow takes pole position then by only half a tenth, so that's really close at the front of the field at the moment, with Kyle Wright behind him by, let's say, just half a tenth. Matti Zenko were further 0.8 of a second down though, so Matti Zenko, as he comes across the line now, let's see whether this is an out lap, so he won't be improving on this lap, but he will be pushing on this lap. Let's jump on board with Matti and see how he does on this lap. Into turn one, the good apex, keep it to the right hand side to get good drive through the left-hander, use all the road, as much traction as you can get in these cars. There's loads of grip, loads of traction. Braking just before 100 meters, misses the apex, but will be able to carry some decent speed through there. Doesn't use all the road, and this really fast section, working the downforce on the car. Downhill into a hard braking zone here for a tight right-hander. Use all the curb, and again all of the road on exit, get all the traction over the crest to this tricky braking zone. So through the left kink, try and get the car straight for the next part of the braking, and then a really cambered tight left, always easy to lock an inside wheel there. Hi to Sam in the chat. So this really fast left here, he's got traffic up in front where he might get a little bit of aero wash, but he should be okay as long as that car in front is doing reasonable lap times. The rear of the car trying to break away there, straightening the car up on the brakes, carrying good speed through this penultimate corner. So a decent middle sector for Matti Zenko, but he was a little bit off the pace in the first sector. Currently sitting third. Where will this put him across the line? We'll jump off board and see where this puts him. So only 0.4 of a second down now, so he stays third, but he's 0.4 behind the current leader, who is Matt Scoro, who's in the pits now, so that's his efforts over. Kyle Wright in the pits also. Qualifying's actually over. I'd missed that being on board with Matti Zenko, so I think he continues on to do another lap. Andrew Wellborn also in the pits. Scott Savage in the pit. Yuri Van Dongen in the pits. Joe Challoner, Chris McKibben in the pit. So only a few of the guys out then. So only Matti Zenko on track. Eric Chaube and Josh Copeland in the Aston Martin still out on track, and then Kimi Sombrox in the Ferrari. So 4 cars left to complete their laps, and actually we've got Akshay Patel in the Porsche. He's coming across the line now. He's currently in 12th. Will he improve? Doesn't improve on a 152.5. Well, he does improve, but he doesn't improve on positions. Matt Scoro in the pits, as we know. So let's have a look at this lap. So Matti Zenko looks like he's up in the first sector, if we were to believe these graphics. First sector only pretty much matches the first sector of pole position. Second sector is about a 1/10.5 down, so it's all down to his third sector, and he has got a car in front of him, so this is going to be interesting to see if this holds up. Matti, he might get a bit of a slipstream, but I think he's more likely to get a bit of aero wash. He's going to stay right in the slipstream of this Ferrari as he crosses the line. Does he improve on third position? He does not, but only 2/10 off pole in the end for Matti Zenko, so he'll be disappointed not to improve on that final effort. But a good session for him, improving all the time, but just not enough. Let's have a quick look at the session results. So let's quickly go through the hypercars first. So there's Matt Scoro on pole, followed by Kyle Wright, then Matti Zenko, Andrew Wellborn, Eric Chaube, Josh Copeland, Scott Savage, Kimi Sombrox, Yuri Van Dongen, Joe Challoner, Chris McKibben, Akshay Patel, apologies, because there's so many in here, we've lost that, so we can't actually go through that, which is a shame. Okay, so we can do the starting order on screen at the moment. So third, Matti Zenko, followed by Andrew Wellborn in fourth, Eric Chaube in fifth, followed by Josh Copeland in the Aston Martin. A decent effort from him in 6th. Scott Savage 7th. Kimi Sombrox in 8th in the Ferrari. Yuri van Dongen 9th, followed by Joe Challoner in 10th in the Jota Porsche. Chris McKibben in 11th, followed by Akshay Patel in 12th. We've then got Niazi in 13th. Then Jake Jenkins 15th. Ant Brown in 16th. I don't think these cars are in the server, are they? So I don't believe these cars are running. So only 12 cars in Hypercar. So then pole, Tom Lyons, followed by Lunatic, and then Greg in 3rd position, then Troy Fry in 4th, Aaron Sterrett in 5th, then Alex McGee in 6th for GT3 this is. Then Sam Wooldridge, Miguel Cambra in 8th. We're just going to skip this because the cars have started rolling. A big field to try and go through, and obviously some big gaps, so something that hopefully the game will be able to sort out and make it a little bit simpler. So we've got 2 starts to try and concentrate on here. We will start with the hypercars as they will cross the line first, but we'll quickly try and switch back to the GT3s so we can see them across the line and into turn 1 as well. So the GT3s roll down the start-finish straight for the start of this 60-minute race. See the GT3s in the background as well. Let's watch the hypercars into turn 1. So it is Matt Scoro who takes the lead from pole position. It's all very close. Let's have a look at the GT3s. Getting all bunched up in the mid-pack. Oh, and a little bit of contacts there. Close battling at the front of the hypercar. So Matti Zenko is taking the lead from Matt Scoro, and then Carl Wright right up at the back of the 42 Porsche, looking down the inside for a way, and Josh Copeland sending one in there in the Aston Martin really deep, but gets it stopped. So really close battling here. We're not really going to be able to concentrate on this and the GT3s, are we? Let's have a quick look at the GT3s as they come into that tight left. So it's Lunatic from Tom, so he's taken the 1st position over Tom, and then Greg in 3rd, and then Alex McGee's moved up to 4th. So a fairly clean start from what we can see in the GT3s. Back to the hypercars then. So Kyle Wright in 3rd position. He's lost a little bit of ground to Matt Scoro in 2nd position. Matt Scoro trying to stick with Matti Zenko, who we saw was always finding pace in qualifying but unable to improve on that 3rd position. But a cracking start from Matti. He's gone from 3rd up to 1st in the first few corners, so a great start from Matti. He'll be trying to get his head down now and ensure he can get a gap in this 60-minute race. I think mandatory pit stops, I'd assume, but hopefully somebody in the chat can let me know if there is a mandatory stop. Matt really close to the back of Matti there. Matti goes to the white line to defend. Matti Scoro tries to... Oh, and Matti Zenko's gone wide there, which has opened the door for Scoro, takes the lead. And then Kyle Wright in 3rd will be wanting to take advantage of that small hiccup from Matti Zenko in 2nd place. He's looking down the inside now, shows his nose, but nothing he can really do there. The door slammed firmly shut on the front of Kyle. Let's have a quick look how close it is in GT3. So still Lunatic from Tom and then Greg in third position. Alex McGee still fourth, Miguel in fifth, and then Troy Fry a little bit further back. Sam Wooldridge in seventh position in the Mercedes. And then Glenn Savage down the back, so he's in 16th in GT3, so he's off the back. He's obviously had an incident, as you see the other cars going down the straightaway. Best lap then for Matti Zenko in second place across the line on the last time around at just a 1:55.1, because obviously only the first laps, not a full flying lap. So Kyle Wright then with the fastest lap over the line that time around on a 1:48.2. If you are in the chat, you can be my eyes and ears to some extent, because there's a lot to keep on top of in this race with having the two races in one. I mean, I will struggle with just the one, so having two up there, I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but we will give it our best shot and try and stay on top of this. Currently seems to be settling down at the front as we see the three stream through this fast section into this braking zone, which is a really popular spot just to straighten up the car and send the car down the inside on the brakes. No changes in GT3 for the top 4, 5, 6. I think Miguel has made a position on Sam Wooldridge possibly. Maybe a mistake from Sam in the Mercedes. Looks like Glenn's made... Oh, as I just switched to that, I don't know if that was contact, but I think that's Tom Smith who's... Yeah, he's having a nightmare in the BMW M4 GT3, and it looks like he's getting caught by DC Pongai in the McLaren, so they're battling hard at the rear of GT3. Close then down the start-finish straight, so Matti Zenko still in second position, but he hasn't lost touch with Matt Scoro in that Martini liveried Porsche. He leads the way in the 42 car, but this is not going to be an easy race for any of these guys. Just 5 minutes gone and we're pretty close for the top three. Andrew Wellborn in fourth is just struggling. He's about 3.5 behind Kyle, so looking for a bit of pace. Did say in the chat that he was 1.1 seconds off in qualifying, which he wasn't really happy with. And then we've got Josh Copeland behind him. So I think he's actually lost a position, because we did see him coming steaming in earlier on in fourth position. So he's lost a place to Andrew Wellborn. So not bad enough to rage quit and join us in the comms box just yet, but keep trying, Josh. You've got Eric behind you, just half a second, and he's looking to shape up for a move. Oh, and Josh gets it sideways through the little hairpin, drifting around this Bahrain International Circuit. They've got Joe Challoner a little further behind in the Porsche. To jump back to the front, this is really getting very, very close, with Matti Zenko just taking a slightly tighter line in there. He might have just put off Matt Scoro because he's out wide. Let's jump on board with them as they go into the final corner. We've got a car right behind us in the form of Kyle Wright, so let's see who gets a good run. Matty going a little bit defensive on the entry, middle of the road. And this is the view from Kyle Wright in third position. Excellent view for this little battle. He's really close to the back of Matti Zenko. Goes to the inside but just fades out of the throttle and brakes back on the normal line. Gets a good, nice tight exit though, so this will open up the left-hander, so he'll get a good run down here into the right-hander braking zone. Looks like Matti Zenko's got a really good exit as well, and putting pressure on Matt Scoro for the lead. He goes up the inside. There's a little bit of contact. They're side by side on the exit. A little bit more contact side by side. They're going to try and go through here alongside the swapping positions. Contact has both spun. That's allowed Kyle through. So contact between Matt Scoro and Matti Zenko, and they've both spun. They've lost a position to, certainly to Kyle. Oh, and that's a big recovery from Matti Zenko, so he's lost even more positions. Matt Scoro got away with it, and I think he's still in second position somehow. But Matti Zenko down in sixth position. Let's get the driver information there so you can see who we're watching. There you go. So that's a big mistake up front at only 10-minute marks, well, 8-minute mark really, and already drama at the front, and Kyle's going to be rubbing his hands together there, because no doubt they will have got a little bit of damage from some of that door banging. So could that have handed the win here to Kyle Wright? Still a long way to go, but that's really shook things up at the start of this race. So Andrew Wellborn promoted into third position then, and then Eric in fourth, followed by Joe, who's got Matti Zenko for company now. Matti Zenko recovering, and I'm sure he'll be driving angry, so he'll be eager to get past these guys up front. He's got 50 minutes to recover. He can see the leader in the same shot at the end of the straight, but he's got a lot of work to do now. He won't be able to take it easy. He's going to have to push for the entirety of this race. On board with Matti Zenko then, looking to go up the inside, and he does. He pulls it up the inside, but the door's closed quite last minute, so that's Joe Challoner in the Jota colours. Joe on the inside, Matti on the outside. Switches for the right-hander, then it's reversed again for the left, but Matti will be on the inside for the braking zone. Just have to get it stopped and try and get a decent exit, but Joe's gone in deep. He's messed that up on the mid-corner and then carried too much speed from the mid to exit of the corner as they catch a GT3, so they are lapping the GT3 nows. GT3 nows? The GT3s now. So that is going to add another element into this race, the lapping of slower class cars, which, speaking of which, we will just check in because it's Lunatic who is in the lead, but very close battle with Tom Lyons in second position. So this battle rages on. We've got Greg in third position, not too far behind in the BMW M4 competition, M4 GT3, sorry. Really close at the front here, so he's looking down the inside is Tom Lyons. He looks down the inside of Lunatic but thinks better of it as the sun starts to set here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Let's have a look a little bit further down. So we've got Alex McGee currently in fifth in GT3, and he's getting close to the back of Miguel in the 92 Porsche. So these two Porsches followed by the Mercedes of Sam Wooldridge. So Sam in the Mercedes trying to improve his position. And then not too far behind, they've got Troy Fry in the McLaren. So this is a good little scrap from fourth down to seventh. Quick look at the front as these hypercars come through to lap the GT3 cars then. Kyle Wright just in front of Matt Scoro, so it's now a 2.3 second gap as it stands. So Matt Scoro not losing out too badly with that contact. Certainly Matti Zenko losing out a lot more in that incident. Fastest lap at the moment is Kyle Wright on a 1:47.695, so he's got the pace as well. That's a good 4/10 quicker than anyone else. Sorry, Matti Zenko is only a 10th behind, sorry, but then everybody else in the 48s, including Matt Scoro. So Matt Scoro is going to probably have to pick up the pace a little bit here if he wants to close that gap to Kyle Wright. Potential damage on Matt Scoro's car, obviously, after that contact, but hopefully he'll be able to close in on the leader. Approaching a quarter distance, just 46.5 minutes to go. Let's have a switch over to the GT3 results so you can concentrate on those. I'm hoping it will just show the GT3s. It doesn't seem to want to do that. Okay, so that's not an option to us, unfortunately. Fortunately, these only the top 15 which don't rotate and cycle on the leaderboard, and there's nearly 15 hypercars, so very difficult to keep an eye on the GT3 spacing. Let's do a quick run through of the GT3s then. So we've got Lunatic in first, followed by Tom Lyons, then Greg Minium, Miguel in fourth, then Sam Wooldridge, followed by Troy Fry, Alex McGee, Aaron Sterrett, Phil Nauder, MC Doge, or Doge, Robin Cruz, Mike Sutty, DC Pongai, Wally Johnson. We haven't seen Wally Johnson in here. Well, I certainly haven't this evening. He's in 14th, then Glenn Savage in 15th, Tom Smith in 16th, and he's the final runner as it stands. In the hypercars, so let's look at the gaps. So we've got 3.7 second gap at the front, so Kyle certainly kind of easing out this gap from Matt Scorrow. Oh, it was sideways as we switch onto the Martini liveried Porsche, and then there's another 7 seconds back to Andrew in third, and then Matty Zenko 3 seconds down, so he's closing in on Andrew Wellborn. We've then got Eric, who's about 2 seconds behind Matty Zenko. We saw Matty battling with him, trying to make his way back through the field. Then we've got Joe Challoner. In fact, it was Joe Challoner that we saw Matty Zenko battling with, so Matty's made up 2 positions already. Joe Challoner 2.3 seconds down on Eric, then Scott Savage a further 5 seconds down on Joe, and then Josh Copeland, who I've clearly missed another mare because he's now in 8th position, 15 seconds behind. So yeah, Josh not having the smoothest of races so far. We've then got Chris McKibben, another 5 seconds down on Josh, and then Kimi Sumbrox, another 12 seconds down from Chris, and then Yuri Van Dongen 3 seconds down, and then Akshay Patel 12 seconds down on Yuri. This battle for GT3 possibly the closest, other than maybe this little battle here, which is spread out. This was starting to close up a little bit earlier on, but these 4 GT3 cars, they were 5th down to 8th or 4th down to 7th. They've now spread out quite considerably. Just these 2 pretty close still. Having said that, there is 3 of them really. That's Sam Wooldridge in the Mercedes, and then Troy Fry in the McLaren, followed by Alex in the pink and white Porsche. So as things start to calm down, probably most of the people in the chat are driving at the moment. So, but if you do have anything you want to watch, any particular drivers that you would like to follow, just let me know in the chat, and we've got no problem with following them round for a few laps. If you want any on boards, we can do that, or any other information that might not be quite as clear as it is to me. I've got a few more screens so I can see a bit more of the timing than just this quite limited leaderboard on the left hand side. So let's have a look. So Matti Zenko is currently catching Andrew Wellborn. Let's see if we can do a 1v1 battle. And let's do the last lap time between Matti Zenko and Andrew Wellborn. So the last lap, Matti Zenko, you can see on the screen, 0.12 faster on the last lap. So he's catching Andrew at a fairly big rate of knots, as you see that gap coming down all the time as it approaches a second. I might just leave this view on for now because it is quite good to see the gaps. Not sure Andrew Wellborn will have an answer to the rapid pace of Matti. It's probably a good idea for Matti to go through and then Andrew to try and latch on to the back of that white and red Porsche and go with Matti and try and catch up to the back of Matt Scorrow, who's a further 12.5 seconds down the road. Oh, and we've had an incident with Tom Lyons, so we didn't see it on the screen, but he was battling for first position. So we have Lunatic in pole, and this was very, very close with Tom, but now it's Greg in second position and then Tom Lyons in third. So he'll be looking to recover from whatever that incident was. I can't see a great deal of damage on the circuit, so sorry, on the car. So hopefully nothing major, maybe just a spin or a slight incident going wide. The gap just gone back up actually between Andrew and Matti Zenko. So Andrew getting the hurry up and managing to put in a little bit more pace. See what their lap times are across the line this time around. So Matti 0.4 quicker on that lap than Andrew, but Andrew finding some pace in the latter part of that lap. So Andrew definitely getting the hurry up, and they're only 10.9 seconds down on Matt Scorrow. So maybe Matt Scorrow not having things all his way. It doesn't look like he's closing in on Kyle Wright. I would suggest that that's actually Andrew Wellborn and Matti Zenko getting their foot down at the moment. Certainly seems like Andrew's increased the pace here because he's managing to stay in front of Matti for the last 2 laps and only losing a little bit of time. Somebody in the chat, is Sam still in 6th in GT3? Yep. He's currently 5th. And is that him going up into... No, so he's currently 5th. I think that was a lapped car. But he's 5th in GT3. He's 1.9 behind Miguel in the Porsche, the blue Porsche you see on the screen there. Really nice livery on that car. So Sam 2 seconds behind, and then he's got Troy Fry behind him in the McLaren. As you can see, the sun setting here in Bahrain. An evening race then, so we might go... Oh, is the hypercar in front has to dip one side of Sam Wooldridge, so a little scary moment there for Sam. Try and check in with them in a little while. So Matti Zenko, as we clearly click away, has taken Andrew Wellborn on the previous lap, and Andrew's actually dropped back a little bit So obviously a slight mistake there from Andrew in the Cadillac. One of the Mercedes GT3 cars going wide there. Interestingly, the gap between Kyle Wright and Matt Scoro around 2.7 seconds, fluctuating quite a bit on the delta, but he's actually closed up a little bit. You can see him right in front of him, so that was over 3 seconds, but he's managed to bring it down to around 2.5. Still unsure whether there is a mandatory stop in this race. I'm assuming there will be, but I haven't actually seen mid-race stops in this game so far. Only a maximum of 2 hours the game supports at the moment, despite being called Le Mans Ultimate. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if we do have stops and seeing how that plays into strategy. So it would suggest when we look at the energy figures that they will have to stop because 25 minutes completed and they're all below 50%, although Kyle Wright has the most energy by a long, long way. Joe Challoner right down at 31%. So it looks like they will all have to stop at some point. And that is the leaders. Sorry, no, that wasn't the leader. That's a back marker. Thought Matt had closed in, but you see the Porsche behind there, a lapped car. I'm not sure exactly who that was. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly who that was. Apologies. Gap back up to 3 seconds, so the gap's always changing when they're having to deal with a bit of traffic from the GT3s, so that is to be expected. Let's have a look down the gaps now. Is there anything under a second? Nothing in the hypercars under a second. Let's have a look at the GT3s. Aaron Sterrett right up behind MC Doge. So these two GT3 cars as they get lapped by one of the hypercars. So that was a very, very close for Aaron. Currently sitting in 9th position in GT3s out of 15 GT3s in total. He's looking to get past that yellow Corvette. They're quite a long way back from Alex McGee in 7th, so Alex McGee a further 20 seconds up the road on these two. Okay, so that could have been mandatory stop. Energy hasn't changed on there, so I just noticed that Andrew Wellborn had dropped right back down there, so let's see if that energy figure on the left hand side does update. No way of seeing which, if there is a mandatory stop, no way to see who has actually served that pit stop, unfortunately. Still showing at 48%, and I feel like, yeah, that's not enough though, is it? I felt like Kyle Wright had the most energy, so maybe Andrew Wellborn put some fuel in, but it certainly wouldn't suggest with 32 minutes to go that that'll be enough for the second half of the race, unless they can heavily fuel save in one of the fuel maps on the engine. We'll have to see. Looks like Akshay Patel has retired because he's in the pits in the hypercar, 2 laps down, so not sure what's going on there. Showing him currently in 20th position, dropping down in the GT3, so I'm not sure. I think we might have had disconnection or something. So unfortunate for Akshay Patel there. So the GT3 class, I've kind of missed it again, but we did see Tom Lyons go down to 3rd position and then Greg take 2nd, but that has certainly changed. Greg back down to 3rd, quite considerably further down, so I wonder if there has been an incident there. Greg 3.5 seconds behind Tom Lyons in 2nd position, and Tom is 7.5 seconds down on the leader, which is Lunatic Braga in the McLaren. Some fans for Matt Scoro in the chat. Go Scoro, go. So he's currently 2nd, 3.3 seconds behind the leader. The gap growing and shrinking as they make their way through these lapped GT3 slower traffic. But he does seem to have decent pace. Kyle Wright currently in the lead. But the gap staying pretty stable. Fastest laps for them both, so Matt Scurrill on a 47.64, Kyle Wright on a 1:47.51, so a 1/10.5 quicker for Kyle Wright on ultimate pace. I can't tell you which lap they set that time on, so quite difficult to show who's had the pace earlier or later in the race so far, as we just cross the halfway point. All of the gaps fairly large now, so we hopefully will be able to concentrate on some of these battles that might be shaping up over a larger number of laps, as we see Matt Scoro just overtaking another one of the GT3 cars. Lunatic leading by 7.3 seconds, so barring any major issues he should be on for a good finish here. Where has Andrew Welborn gone? Sorry, still in 9th position. What does his energy say now? 42, so I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with this energy situation, because we have the likes of Joe Challoner down on 21%, so he's only going to have maybe 10 minutes more of fuel before he has to make a stop. So I'll keep an eye on what's going on there, as Andrew Welborn is right up the back of Kimi Sombrox. Let's jump on board with Andrew as they try and get through the lap traffic. Great footage here, and that's Kimi's gone wide, overtaken off the track, and Andrew takes the opportunity to go down the inside of both of them. Kimi's still off the circuit, taking the long way round. He's had to back out of that, tucks in behind the GT3. But yeah, Andrew making up one position there on Kimi Sombrox, up to 8th position. Still not quite sure whether that was Andrew Welborn's mandatory stop. We've still not had anything in the chat where I can tell if there is a mandatory stop or not. But I'm looking at these energy figures and I'm assuming there'll at least be a stop. Whether it's mandatory or not, I'm not sure. And we don't have the fuel for the GT3s, unfortunately. I'm not sure why that is. Let's get the gaps up there so you can see how your prospective drivers are doing. No particularly close gaps in the top 15 positions. Pretty sure the front of that Aston Martin, that wasn't the look they were going for when they moulding those panels in the wind tunnel. That's sure to have an effect on the handling of this car. Looks like something like a Batmobile with that giant rear wing. Some people not a fan of this car, but to be honest, I think it's something different. And when you couple that with the noise, why wouldn't you want this on your grid? You see Kyle Wright lifting and coasting there on the brakes, which is quite interesting. Not really seen that from the other guys, so that may explain why he had slightly more energy earlier in the race, about 5 to 10% more than his competitors. So we'll watch next time round. If we remember to jump on board with him down the start-finish straight, he's just lifting just before the braking zone and coasting in there in an effort to save fuel. Ooh, he loses the rear a little bit there, steps out on him. He's currently 3.7 seconds up on Matt Scorrow in second, so I think that gap is kind of staying pretty consistent. That's Chris McKibben in 10th position, who's just been lapped in the other Porsche, so he'll be trying to stick on the back of Kyle to try and find some pace. There we see Matt Scorrow also going past Chris McKibben. Good driving from Chris, getting out the way nicely. Josh Copeland about 4 seconds behind Scott Savage, so we've not seen much of Scott Savage actually. So Scott Savage also in the Cadillac Jota, or Team Jota livery. The front of that car and the side of that car looks pretty battered. It looks like it's been in a fire or something. Yeah, that looks pretty banged up. So with 23 minutes to go, Scott Savage currently sits in 6th position. Sombrox has spun, missed that, so Kimi spun in the 50 car, so he was running in 9th position. It just lost a place to Andrew Welborn, so he's down to 11th, and he's now 8 seconds behind Yuri van Dongen. So lots of Porsches are popular. Oh, and that's a spinner. Is that Sam Wooldridge? No. Who else is in a Mercedes? It's Aaron Sterrett in the Mercedes. He's spun. So he is now in 8th. Not sure where he was before that spin, but a little incident for him. Now 19 seconds behind 7th position. So he was chasing the 233 car here, the Corvette of MC Doge. But now maintains the position, but now 20 seconds behind. So a big gap to make up. Matt Scoro only a second or 1.9 behind Kyle here. We know Kyle was doing a bit of fuel saving. We did just miss the braking zone because we can't see if he was lifting coasting still. But when we look at the energies on the tower on the left hand side, Joe Challoner down to 9%, Carl Wright on 28%, and then Andrew Wellborn, who we know has pitted, on 30%. So could this be some strategy at play here to make this one tank of fuel or energy, whatever you want to call it, last the whole 60 minutes? We do have a third of the race to go, so that would be 33%, or just over, because we still have 1 minute to go until the 20-minute point. So maybe these drivers around 30% trying to make this last the whole race, but they're going to have to do a bit more lift and coasting if they want to meet that target fuel usage. Matti Zenko 11 seconds back at the moment in third position, so he did get back up to third place. We might have lost track of that, apologies Matti. After his spin earlier on, he did lose a few positions, certainly to Joe Challoner. He's currently in fourth, but we know he's low on fuel, so we need to keep an eye on that. Oh, and who's that spun? Somebody's spun. Just flicking through them. Chris McKibben. Chris McKibben spins, so just after being lapped. You've got enough room, Chris, keep going. Just after being lapped by the leaders, he looped it on the exit there. So that's a bit of a nightmare for Chris. He's now in 11th position and he's nearly 10 seconds down on Kimi. So Kimi, after that spin earlier, manages to get a place back. Lunatic still leading in GT3 with Tom Lyons 8.5 seconds behind, and then another 7.5 seconds for Greg, and then Miguel in fourth position. Looks like he's having a good battle with Sam Wooldridge. Sam Wooldridge only 0.3 of a second behind, so we'll stick on board with this. I keep my eye on Joe Challoner. So Joe Challoner pits, sorry. So that's him in for fuel. Let's jump back to this battle here. See on the leaderboard when the cars are in the pit. See where Joe appears. Oh, and that's wide for Miguel. So they go side by side. This is Sam on the inside. Will he be able to just outbrake the Porsche? Unable to get alongside, and the Porsche takes his normal racing line, but he's got a bit wide there. Will Sam get a better run down the start finish straight? Let's jump on board, see what he can do. Getting right up into the slipstream of that Porsche as he lets one of the hypercars go past. Frantic stuff then. Always got to be looking in your mirrors, down on the brakes. He's on the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of contact and Sam's lost the rear a little bit. Side by side they've got the second position hypercar coming through there, so they managed to let him through without incident. Sam being sensible there and just letting him through, and then Matt Scoro gets through on Miguel as well. So a good little battle here, shaping up for fourth position in the GT3 class. Really close stuff at the moment. Mike Sutty I'm going to say he was close, but that's because somebody was in the pits. So all the GT3 drivers making their stops at the moment, so this will all settle down in the next 5 minutes, because I'd imagine they all have a very similar fuel usage and tank size. So we'll check in with them soon. Let's jump back into this little battle, because this was quite a good, close battle so far. There's nothing else really any closer, even in hypercar. The closest gap, I think, is Joe Challoner's, about 2.5 seconds behind Andrew Wellborn, who's making his way back up the field after that earlier than normal stop. Andrew choosing to take an earlier strategic call, and the Porsche goes wide and the Mercedes follows him off. So both cars going wide there. So that's one of the hypercars coming up to lap Sam. I do believe that is Matti Zenko, so the third position hypercar puts another lap on the GT3s. "15 minutes to go then." It's all really calmed down. Not a great deal going on in terms of battles throughout the field. The field spread is fairly large in the hypercars. Pretty close for the lead, so only 4.5 seconds between Carl Wright and Matt Scoro. We've then got a reasonably close battle between Scott Savage in 5th position and then Josh Copeland in 6th. Only 3 seconds gap between them at the moment. And then these two in the GT3 class, as Sam manages to get back up onto the back of Miguel. This is for 4th position, so Miguel currently 4th position in GT3, 15th overall. Again, looks like that is, I think, is that Kimi? No, Yuri Van Dongen just coming round to lap those two guys battling, but it looks like Sam's getting really, really close, looking up the inside into the last corner, having a think about it. Going wide from Miguel. Sam needs to maximise traction here. He's got a good run. He'll try and rely on the straight line speed of this Mercedes to get up alongside the Porsche, but we know the Porsche on the last time round was very, very quick. You can see him just in the corner there as he goes out of shot. Sam definitely up the inside here. Can he do him on the brakes? Struggling on the brakes to beat that Porsche, and the Porsche just manages to drive around the outside and then get the inside line for the left-hander, but Sam Wooldridge got a good exit there, and Miguel going defensive over to the inside. Not clear enough to come back in front, so Sam trying a bit of a switcheroo here. I imagine the rear of that Porsche getting out of shape, and then they're going to be very, very close into this fast section, the left, right, left, and then downhill. Oh, and Sam has a little twitch there as he gets a little bit too close for comfort in the mid corner of the right-hander, and down the hill into the braking. And the Porsche's gone deep, definitely deep there, so Sam's going to stand a chance on the exit. He gets a good run, but he's not going to get a good enough run to be up the inside here, and they've got another hypercar, which is, I think, Kimi Sombrox about to lap them. Yes, it is. So they're going to have to deal with that as well. So Sam right up behind the Porsche. Look, he can't really get any closer. It's a real fast section here, so will he be able to do anything in here? Really good little battle between these two, trading paints a few times, but really clean as they go side by side through the fast left-hander. The Porsche will have the inside into the right, but Sam Wooldridge really getting the Porsche under pressure here. He goes tight on the brakes, a really good move. The Porsche just slings it round the outside, manages to stay on circuit. Sam loses the rear a little bit, and that gives the advantage back to the Porsche. Sam back in the slipstream for another lap, so he's back behind in the same position. The Porsche looks like it's pushing a little bit and it's struggling with understeer, whereas the Mercedes just looking a little bit lively on exit as the Porsche pits then, so that releases Sam Wooldridge to do whatever lap times he thinks he can do. The McLaren in the background looked like it was shaping up to go in the pits, but then decides better of it. Let's have a quick check-in at the front, because what are we looking like for energy or fuel remaining? So Kyle Wright on 13%. Is it enough? Because there's now... Oh, so we had a third, that was 33, so we'd need 16-17% at 10 minutes. I feel like they're all going to have to do a splash and dash. Maybe Kyle Wright just minimising the amount of fuel he'll have to take, so he'll spend less time in the pit lane. I can only imagine that's what's happening. But is that somebody run out of fuel there, or is that's probably an incident? Who was that? That was Joe Challoner, so maybe a spin into the last corner for Joe. We didn't see it on the camera, but something not quite right for that Porsche hypercar. So Sam up to third position, but we don't know if he has to pit yet. So again, slightly difficult with the fuel situation. Yeah, Makambe in the chat says tight on energy. Yeah, it is. It's looking like Kyle's in the best position. We know Andrew Wellborn has pitted, but we still think that's pretty close. Obviously Joe Challoner is pitted, and so is Josh Copeland, and they're now on 25 and 20% respectively. So they should be fine now. Andrew Wellborn did take a splash earlier on. Let's have a quick look at Andrew. So he's on 13% at 10 minutes, so it's not enough. I think he may have to fuel save significantly or do another stop, so that could be 2 stops for Andrew. We'll have to keep an eye on this. It's going to be quite difficult to see who's pitting. So we've got Eric in the pits at the moment then. So Eric from 4th position, he pits for fuel. Looks like they're just doing a splash and dash, no tyres taken by any of these guys. So we've got Matt Scorrow in 2nd position, only 2% left, so he's coming up to the final corner, so he'll no doubt dive into the pits there. And then Matti Zenko a little bit further back on the same amount of fuel. So here comes Matt Scorrow into the pits then. Let's keep an eye on these two and see if there's any advantage to be gained in the pits for these two drivers. I think Scott Savage will probably be in the pits as well. He's a little bit further back, so we'll check on these two first. You can hear the sirens as all of the cars come into the pits. It sounds like an air raid siren going on, especially when the Valkyrie goes past. So that was a really quick stop. No, I'm not sure it's worked out for Matt Zenko. It looked like the car dropped, and he has dropped, and he's gone. Matt Scorrow is still in the pits as it goes up again. So Matti Zenko, as you see him roll past in the pits, that is for 2nd position. Only 8.5 minutes to go. So Matt Scorrow's lost 2nd position in the pits. Maybe a case of over-fueling there. Matti Zenko, 1% energy. And Scorrow tips. Let's see if that updates. Let's see if that updates, because that can't have updated from when they went into the pits. Scott Savage in the pits as well. No, actually. No, he's coming into the pits now, I'd imagine. No. Scott Savage on 4%. Thinks he can do another lap. It'll be interesting to see what he has when he comes round. Let's keep an eye on that energy usage. Yeah, so 19, 16%, and then Scorrow 21%. So Zenko took a little bit less fuel, but that was significantly shorter stop. So maybe an error in the pits for Matt Scorrow, down to 3rd position. That's a shame for him. And he's currently 4.5 seconds behind Matti Zenko. So not worked out for them. Or for him, should I say. It's only one of him. 7 minutes to go. Let's have a quick rundown of both the hypercars and the GT3s before it all is over. So Kyle Wright in 1st position, then Matti Zenko 20 seconds down in 2nd, then Matt Scorrow only 4 seconds down on Matizenko in third. Then Scott Savage, 25 seconds down, still has to pit, we think, with only 3% energy remaining. We then got Andrew Wellborn, a further 12 seconds down on Scott Savage. You see on screen there, overtaking one of the McLarens. He's 12 seconds down on Scott Savage. Joe Challoner is then 20 seconds down on Andrew Wellborn. Eric Chaube is really close to the back of Joe Challoner. You can see the battle on screen there. Josh Copeland 16 seconds behind those two in 8th position. Then Chris McKibben in 9th position, a 55-second gap from Josh. Yuri Van Dongen, a 23.5 seconds down on Chris McKibben. And then Kimi Sombrox, who had that spin earlier on, is 31 seconds down on Yuri Van Dongen. GT3, Lunatic Braga is still leading from Tom Lyons, who's 15 seconds down now, and then Sam Wooldridge has moved up to 3rd position from Miguel in 4th, who's only half a second back, so that battle still rages on. So we saw these two. That's Josh nearly getting into the back of the GT3 there as he tries to wide his way through. He ends up getting pushed back nearly behind Miguel. So we saw Miguel and Sam Wooldridge battling early on, and they've continued that after their respective stops. Troy Fry in 5th position, 10 seconds down on Miguel. Then Greg Minium a further 12 seconds down. Then MC Doge 18 seconds down in 7th position. Aaron Sterrett 28 seconds down now on MC Doge. Mike Sutty a further 44 seconds down on Aaron. Then Glenn Savage 3.7 seconds down on Mike Sutty. Wally Johnson only a second and a half behind Glenn Savage, so that battle is going to rage on, as you see very, very close on the screen with just 5 minutes to go. And DC Ponge only 2 seconds behind those two in 12th, and then Tom Smith 40 seconds down in 12th position. Then Tom Smith in 13th, and he's the last running car in 13th position in class and 24th position overall. Ash K. Patel retired, and Pablo Garcia Suarez didn't even start. Okay, 4.5 minutes to go. The close battles are Eric closing in on the back of Joe Challoner for 5th position. We've then in the GT3s got Miguel right on the back of Sam Wooldridge, not right on the back, a second and a half, but in terms of this race that's pretty close. Then we've got a few guys a little bit closer further back, but generally the field spread in GT3 is over 10 seconds between all of the drivers other than these two on screen. So Matizenko got it wrong there. Did he pull across the front under braking? But he nearly loops it. Look, he's flashing, he's on the light, so he's not happy with the McLaren for one reason or another. It looked like he'd maybe pulled across the front of the McLaren in the braking or something, or the braking, the McLaren getting the braking wrong possibly. I was about to say he's 20 seconds behind Kyle Wright, who's looking or sitting pretty at the front at the moment. He looks like he's got this one in the bag. Yeah, 20 seconds behind, but then Matt Scoro will have been seeing that bit of drama up front with Matizenko getting it wide with the McLaren and hoping he can do something about that as he goes past the McLaren. I'm not sure who the McLaren was. Let's have a look. Is that... No, it's not Lunatic. I do believe it was DC. Was it DC? Not sure. Who knows? But we'll concentrate on this battle again, because you can see Matt Scoro in the background just here, not far behind at all, with only 2 minutes 50 to go. No other battles in hypercars that look like they're really shaping up to anything, so we will stick with this gap. You can see the gap on the screen. It's currently at a second, but this is really close finish. After an hour of racing, to be only within a second basically on the final couple of laps. Matt Scoro losing that position in the pit, so he will not be happy about losing that to Matizenko, who's coming across lots of traffic here, so this is going to be interesting to see how he deals with this. He goes down the inside of the Porsche. The Porsche, he's made contact with the back of Matizenko, so that was not planned. The Porsche runs wide and nearly into the side of Matt Scoro, so could there be damage to the back of Matizenko's hypercar there? That was really interesting, and it's really hotting up with 1:55 to go as they go down the little short straight. He will be looking to make any chance. Oh, and he's nearly into the back of him here. I'm lost for words. He's made contact with the back of Matizenko, gets him unsettled, and this is really close stuff. This is going to be the last lap, because a typical lap time is a 1:50, and there's only 1:15 to go as they come round this final corner. So this will be the final lap. We'll keep an eye on Carl Wright, but he's currently leading by 20 seconds. Got it all out of shape there on the exit. I've totally missed that. So Matizenko got it all out of shape, and Skoro takes that second position back. I was glancing away to the timing screen and totally missed what had happened down that final corner. But Matt Skoro takes second position. Can Matizenko do anything to reclaim that third position on this final lap? That's such a shame for Matty, after nailing the pit stop and getting into second and just losing the rear of the car. It looked like he just lost the rear of the car on the exit of the final corner, and they both were slightly compromised, but Matt Skoro managing to get past on the start-finish straight. Coming across a little bit of lap traffic, and there's contact between the Corvette, and there's more contact between Matizenko. Let's jump off board here. Oh, well, they are lucky boys there to be still in the positions they're in, because it's all happening on this last lap. They came across the Corvette. I'm not sure who the Corvette was, but first contact with Matt Skoro in the Martini coloured Porsche, and then Matizenko came round, had nowhere to go. He thought about going left, thought about going right, and made contact onto him. He nearly loses it in the fast part of the lap, so that might have just let Matt Skoro off the hook. Let's check with Carl Wright as he goes across the line to take the win of round 2 of the Multiclass Championship. Then that's Josh Copeland across the line, a lap down, as they all stream across and send it into the wall. That looks like Andrew Wellborn doing the classic rage wall incident. So these two will come across, and there's a spin on the final corner then. I think that was for Kimi Sombrox. And Matt Skoro takes second position ahead of Matizenko, and it all kicked off on that final lap. Joe Challoner will come round to finish fourth, a big gap, 65 seconds behind third position then for Joe Challoner, and then Josh Copeland has already finished, I think because he was a lap down. Yeah, Josh first of the lapped runners, so Joe will be the final one on the lead lap. So fair effort from Joe, from what I can tell. Oh, kicking. I've totally missed the finish of the GT3s. I'm so sorry to Lunatic and Tom Lyons, and then Sam Wooldridge. All of you have already come across the line. I was so caught up in the hypercar battle, but Lunatic from Tom Lyons and Sam Wooldridge and Miguel, really good racing there in GT3s. We saw that battle between Miguel and Sam Wooldridge earlier on. Really good racing, really fair. Some fair field spread, but that is kind of what we expect in an hour endurance race. So it looks like the first LMU League race for Matt Skoro in the chat, so a good position, P2 for him, and a great little battle on the last lap. I'm sure the guys in the Discord will be studying those last laps to see what exactly happened. Unfortunately, we can't really get a replay of that, but great stuff on the final lap. And again, apologies for missing the GT3 battle. Let's quickly go through the finishing positions if we can. I'm not sure we can, because I think once somebody's left the server, it resets, which is not great. But if you check out the Discord link, so there is a link in the description to the Discord. There'll be links on there to SimGrid, and that's where all of the race results and data, lap times and things like that. That is all stored on there, so you can take a look post race. There's usually a day or two delay for that to go on before or after they've looked into any stewarding inquiries, any tickets that are raised for any incidents in the race. But once the results are ratified, they will go on to SimGrid. So that concludes our coverage of round 2 of the multi-class race championship, the multi-class championship on LMU, hosted by Slip and Grip Sim Racing. So again, just head over to the Discord and you can get all the details there, sign up, get involved, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Thanks very much for joining us in the chat. Hopefully we tried to cover that race the best we could, and I'm hoping that next week we'll have our friend Tom Simpkins joining me in the commentary box. And I'm glad we didn't see you, Josh.